They've literally got similar sales. One location was dramatically more profitable than the other one. The question is, why? Why is that the case? Because if the system is the same, if they had comparable sales, because obviously first thing you're like, oh, maybe the location was better, but they had similar sales, right? Similar menu mixes, right? Because it's pretty consistent across the brand. Like all of those things were the same. I don't know if they were in the same state or not, but realistically, labor would have been roughly similar. So I was just like, why? Why is that the case? And so the conclusion I have come to is that, guess what? Welcome back to the Restaurant Growth Accelerator Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Scott, multi-unit owner for almost 20 years. And now with ownership, we help restaurant owners have more freedom with their time and their families and help them expand their business and put more money in their bank account. So what I want to talk to you guys today about is that there's two restaurants that get the same brand, but one was making way more money than the other. So this is kind of a funny story. And I'll let you into my life for a little bit. And so we had this one person who came on as a client and basically only had one call with our team, and which is kind of interesting. So this individual came on and basically did all their bookkeeping, like all their record keeping by hand, like literally pulled out like a ledger for their sales and probably like blew it and dusted it off and stuff like that. And so, like this is my ledger where I keep all of my accounts and stuff. And I'm like, dude, how do you file your taxes? But anyway, I guess he hands the ledger to the accountant and they have to then transcribe it into QuickBooks or whatever they use. So anyway, it's all paper. So everything was on paper, like literally had one of those old cash registers where, the ones like you have to like turn the key and do like a Z report, at the end of every day to get your sales. And like it's the ones where you have to like handwrite what the menu items are and then put the thing back over the key. Like you guys might, some of you guys who are old school might know what that's like, not having an electronic POS. And so that's what things were like, back when I started. So this is a long time ago. We had that kind of a cash register. So like you didn't know what item was what, like just to pull those type of reports, like you had to manually go through every like thing that, oh my God. So anyway, so this individual is coming in. And so part of what we do is we collect financial information so we can help you figure out where we can help you make the most money the fastest and put it back into your bank account, where we can make the best change that's going to make basically the change that'll give you money the fastest, that'll be the easiest to make, because obviously we want to make sure we put money in your bank account really fast. That's what we do. So we're trying to do this analysis, and obviously he's like, I don't think this is for me. It's a lot of work. And so totally cool, that's the case. Obviously, like we have ways to work around that, but then you do have to take some of the paper stuff and put it into spreadsheets in order to be able to evaluate the data, right? So obviously there's a little bit of work in that case. Most people don't really have to do that because they already have all the data. It's already online and we can just transpose it in there. It's fine. So most people don't deal with this. But the story I wanted to tell you was that after he was done and basically he did one call and then said, hey, I don't want to do it. And I was like, cool, no problem. Anyway, so basically his refund took a couple days to get to, because refunds typically take 3 to 5 days to show up on your credit card statement. So in the process, he emailed me and he let me know that he didn't think I was man enough, and basically he threatened to call the Department of Justice. Anyway, it was a really interesting situation. So I had a lot of fun with it. But so I promise I'm coming to a point here. In situations like this almost never happen. This is why it stands out so much to me. That anyway, so it's just kind of funny that because I'm like, hey, we refunded you. Like, it's fine. It's going to show up in a couple days, and but feel free to call the Department of Justice if you want. So he was part of a franchise. And the funny thing is, we have another client that's part of the same franchise that this guy was in. And so what's so interesting is their sales were almost identical, but one guy has like 20% profit margins, which is our client, and then this guy was losing money. And so the reason I want to share that is because they've got the same menu. They've literally got, similar sales. One location was dramatically more profitable than the other one. The question is, why? Why is that the case? Because if the system is the same, if they had comparable sales, because obviously first thing is like, oh, maybe the location was better, but they had similar sales, right? Similar menu mixes, right? Because it's pretty consistent across the brand. So like all of those things were the same. I don't know if they were in the same state or not, but realistically, like, labor, would have been roughly similar because they weren't in like they weren't in like a high labor state or whatever. So it was both very normal and comparable. So, hey, quick break in today's episode. Do you want to know exactly what's holding your restaurant back from higher profits and more freedom? I'm offering a limited number of free 15-minute restaurant assessments this week, where my team will personally pinpoint how to get you more profitability and more freedom with your time and map out the steps you need to get there. Simply tap the book a call link in the description below, and we'll see you soon. But why am I talking to you guys about this on a podcast? Is because the decisions you make and the beliefs that you have will affect how much money your business makes. And so I've talked about this before, and everyone's like, yeah, Andrew, sure, whatever, dude. Like the beliefs I have of my business, that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo yoga, self-help talk. I don't believe in that shit. I'm a restaurant owner. I work with my hands and I get shit done, and I'm the one that does the best. I've probably said all of those things in the past, but what I've learned is that, yes, as an owner, the way you view the world and the decisions you make will basically affect how much profit you make in your business, right? So we have one owner who came to us. He's been a client for, I think, 3 years now or something like that. And he came to us with similar issues, right? I mean, granted, he did have financials, so that was a plus. But, he came to us in a similar situation where he worked all of the time. He worked 80 plus hours a week and barely made money, right? And so over the course of working with him, he now works like 20, 25 hours a week in the business, and the rest he works on the business, has more time with his family. He spends more time at home. He's actually a dad now. He was a dad then, but he's actually acting like a dad now, being present for his kids. And I want to make sure that distinction is clear. And he's making way more money. And he's opening up another location now because he actually was able to put away enough cash with his first location that now he could fund the second one, fund the expansion. Whereas other person, which we're not going to say the name of that person, that individual, didn't make a lot of money and was frustrated and blamed the franchise. Oh, it's the franchise's fault. It's all their fault. This all blah, 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 blah. You can't make money with this franchise. I want to get out. I blame it. So, one person was like, hey, I want to fix my business and what I'm doing in the business. And the other person just blames everything else. And when we try to show them how to look at financials properly and instill some systems into their business, they're like, no, not going to do it. Too complicated. So I just want you to understand that the decisions we make and the beliefs we have about our businesses, that is ultimately a predictor of your success. Because another stat from the franchise that I was a part of. So and this one will be really, really interesting. So I had a conversation with the CEO, and so we were talking about, okay, why did half of the franchisees have sales that went up by more than 10%, and half that went down by an average of 10%, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's basically because the sales data is what the franchise collects, so they're basing this off sales data. So, and he was like, well, how come? Because he basically looked through every vector possible. So he was like, okay, is it based on province or state? Is it based on the city that they are in? Is it based on the pricing tier that they have? And so he ran the data in all of these ways. And he's like, okay, is it because of suburb versus downtown location? Is it because of population density? Is it even because of sales volume? And he ran the numbers. And this is before Chat GPT and stuff like that. He had to manually run all of this data, which would have taken a long time to do. And so he ran through it, and I remember he telling me all the ways that he cut up this data, and the actual deciding factor is those who attended the franchise's annual conference. And you guys are probably thinking, well, that's a bunch of bullshit. What does a franchise conference have to do with it? And he even said this. He's like, it's actually nothing. We didn't teach anything radically different about the conference. We didn't really radically teach anything different or new that would have just, basically accounted for this positive sales increase, right? We didn't do anything that would have done that. The difference is the people, the type of owners that go to the conferences and are interested in improving their business and making changes to make it better. Those people make more changes in their business. They're more open to those types of things. They're more open to growth. And so therefore they are making the changes to make their business better. And that's why their sales increased. Versus those who didn't come to the conference either because they said they didn't have the money or didn't value going to a conference and I'm just going to work in my business. They were just more closed off and not really willing to do that versus the people that are like, I want to learn. I want to do better. This is an opportunity for me to grow. And so people who are growth minded and growth oriented, right? So what's so interesting is that was the deciding factor, above anything else was that. And so that's the reason I wanted to talk about this is because, again, if you want your business to improve, you have to be open to improving your business. Because if you are open to improving it, guess what? Your business will improve because you're going to then try other things and do other things that are going to make it better. That's just part of it. If you spend most of your time being like, no, that won't work. No, that's stupid. No, I'm not going to do that. Everybody says we can't do this. Everybody says, or everyone I know deals with this issue or that issue, instead of saying hey, a lot of people have this issue. I wonder how we can do something different. I wonder how we can solve it. I wonder how we can overcome it. It's a different mindset. It's blame everything else or try and fix it, Because if we just blame everything else, if we just are closed off and say, well, that's just the way it is. The restaurant industry can't have more than 10% profit margins. Well, guess what? That will be true for you. But what I want you to understand is it doesn't have to be true. You just have to be open to the possibility of it being different, and then being willing to explore options to make it better. And so that's what I want you guys to understand. And I know I've talked about that before, so I apologize if I feel like a broken record, but I wanted to frame it in the way of literally we had two people who were vastly different, but part of the same system, same sales, same franchise, but vastly different owners and the results of one versus the other. And I thought that was the clearest way I could explain it to you because I probably haven't had the data to share that before. But it was really interesting because that happened. And I just thought that that was a unique situation that I could share with you the day in the life of Andrew, So that's kind of what I wanted you guys to understand is that if you're willing to do things, it can get a lot better. All right, guys, hope this was helpful, and we will see you again soon on the next one.